What's up, everybody? This is Dominic D'Angelo. I'm of several outlets, SCScoops.com, adfreeshows.com, and I am here today. It is episode 2. It is right down the middle with Bill Fonzie Alfonso. Fonzie, how are you, man?
Hey, Daddy, I am great. I'm living in Tampa Bay, living the dream, Daddy.
Looking good. It's good. We had a fun first episode where we just covered a general basic overview of what the show is going to be about. And I thought, what better way to start than cover the guy that we're on, the channel we're on. We're live on rvdtv.com. So be sure, if you're on there, be sure to like, subscribe, get the word out about Fonzie, get the word out about this show, and we can get some more. And guys, feel free to put some questions in. If you use the super chat, that helps out the show a lot. But you can also just pop in and get a comment in on YouTube. On Twitter, we're on RVD's Twitter today, and we're also on RVDTVlive.com and on my social.
Thanks, RVD Daddy.
Yep. So, guys, yes, be sure to share out and shout out. But today, I think a good way to start is to cover Rob Van Dam himself and what a relationship you guys have had. You guys are synonymous with one another. I want to first give credit to Robert D. Felice, who happened to write the research and do the research on it. He did a great job. I looked over the notes and very impressive work. So, Fonzie, before we do anything, do you have anything that you want to say in regards to just being back here and what your excitement for the show moving forward?
Well, I'm super excited. I mean, a lot of people are doing podcasts. Now I'm doing one. So I'm really excited about it. I'm getting all kind of comments on my social media. Fonzie, we watched the first one and it wasn't live, but I'm really enjoying it. We got so much to cover, not only ECW and RVD and Sabu and but I go back to 1978.
Holy smokes!
With Terry Funk, and that's why Sabu and I get along so good. This is a retirement. Van Dam was on this show. This was Van Dam's Terry Funk's retirement deal in Texas on his ranch. So, man, we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
Lots to talk about. So,
BBC just contacted me today, and they want to do an interview on me. They want to talk about Giant Gonzalez.
Yeah,
I was assistant for 3 years for him, and we traveled the world. And man, we run movies and Baywatch and Hogan's Thunder in Paradise and all kind of shows and really cool. So we got a ton of stuff to talk about, and during the podcast, the wrestling fans are really going to enjoy it because we're going to be talking about wrestling.
Absolutely.
Some other stuff too.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. We're going to cover so much ground on here. And we got over 200 people tuning in right now. So guys, be sure to shout us out, spread the word, share it out. If you're watching on Twitter, go to rvdtv.com. You can pop a question in, use the hashtag #AskFonzie too, and that'll help us out as well. But Fonzie, let's get to it.
I love questions. I love questions from the fans, from the wrestling people.
Yeah. Oh,
who love the business just as much as we do.
Right. Exactly. That's the thing too, is like, that's the neat thing about kind of going live on these things, is we can get live fan interaction and people that are passionate about it and want to get the word out too about, what we're doing here and just pro wrestling in general. It's a fun time to be in the wrestling business, and you're active. You mentioned that last week. Yeah. Before we get to Rob, let's talk about.
I'm super active. Active. I'm doing a show this Friday in Cleveland for AIW. John Thorne has a hell of a company up there. And they draw, 500 to 1,000 people. I've been going in and out of there for 4 years and managing people like Matthew Justice and just all kind of cool people.
Oh man, yeah. And that's the thing too, is we just saw you on MLW this. I think it was on their pay-per-view. You got beat up by Mads Kruger. We saw you got knocked out.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I did. I just signed up for a verbal contract with them. I'm doing 3 shows with them, 2 in Florida and 1 in Atlanta coming up.
That's fantastic. Oh yeah, Battle Riot. That's going to be a great show down there.
Yeah, for some reason we clicked. They like my style, and I blend right in, Daddy.
Yep. And you and Matthew Justice, you guys are quite the tandem right there too.
Oh, he's hardcore, man. He's badass.
Speaking of which, hardcore is Rob Van Dam. When do you first recall meeting Rob, and what was your first impressions, Fonzie?
I thought he was very respectful. I met him in the mid-'90s. He came into ECW. Paul Heyman brought me in to do a 4-week tour. But my gimmick caught on, and I ended up going with Taz and managing Taz. And then the first pay-per-view, we left Taz, and I went with RVD and Sabu, which was very cool. So that's the first time we kind of started working together. Very respectful and badass. I love RVD.
Yeah, Rob had a great feud with Sabu back in 1996. He faced Sabu at a Matter of Respect on May 11th. And it ultimately did not shake Sabu's hand, and despite the stipulations of the match. And after he lost, and that's when he was paired with you guys. What were you told about the pairing, and what was Rob? And was Rob on board with like getting with you guys from the get-go and stuff like that, pairing up with you?
We didn't know what to think. I mean, Paul Heyman had this brilliant idea when, it turned out to be freaking great, because when you mention ECW, you mentioned just a few names pop up, and RVD's the first one. I think he was the biggest star of them all. Sabu, Sandman, Taz, Shane Douglas. There's so many guys, but man, RVD's a special guy. He's got special talent, and so he could work with anybody. The matches that he had with Jerry Lynn were just freaking incredible. Bam Bam Bigelow and RVD, incredible. Spike Dudley, Van Dam can work with anybody. He had that special extra strength, and Van Dam's like a badass, like really a tough guy. Man, those thighs, he could do shit that nobody else could do. Very unusual. Had special powers, Van Dam, and there was just a great pairing, man. It was so cool. And Van Dam was so respectful, and brought me right in with him. We just clicked, man. We just clicked.
Well, too, before I forget to, you mentioned it. Your first match that you refereed was Terry Funk and the Sheik, and kind of like that full circle moment happening with you and Sabu and RVD. What were your impressions of the Sheik too when you got to first beat him and interact with him? And he just left such a legacy too, obviously, on the business.
Well, I'm trying to break into business. I'm in my early 20s. If I was even 20 in 1978. I went out to Texas with one of my best friends, the Cuban Assassin, and he said, "Hey, this is my little brother. He's a referee." And then back then it was 4 territories. It was Dallas, or Von Erichs, Joe Blanchard ran San Antonio and Corpus Christi and all that. Telly Blanchard's dad. Paul Boss only ran Houston, and the Funks ran Amarillo in northern Texas, Lubbock, and all that. And I got to work for him. One of my first matches I refereed was the Sheik and Terry Funk in a chain match. Now, this was, I think, in late 78 or early 79. And these are my childhood guys I watched growing up. Tampa was a hotbed. I was born and raised in Tampa, and I used to go to the matches since I was 13 or 14 years old. And I used to watch these guys and then be in the ring with them. And then the finish of the Sheik and Terry Funk, the Sheik pulled out a pencil and started stabbing Funk, and he ended up stabbing the referee, which was me. And I still got the lead mark in my arm. I think I've mentioned that before, right there.
Oh, man.
The Sheik stabbed me. So when I told Sabu that story, we instantly bond. And so did Van Dam. He loved the story, because they're affiliated with the Sheik. That's Sabu's uncle, and we trained Van Dam and Sabu, so we just clicked right away.
Man, yeah, what a tie-in too. It's just so cool. I think that's such a neat story in the world of pro wrestling. You see some full circle moments happen, but like that's such a unique one because you are synonymous with Sabu and RVD, and here your very first match was with the guy who trained him. So that's pretty awesome.
That's why I'm Dominic. That's why I'm working every weekend, almost every weekend. I'm working somewhere in the country for these different companies and doing podcasts and doing shows and meet and greets and WrestleCons and conventions and wrestling shows. This is because of ECW and Van Dam being in the main event, with Sabu and Van Dam and Taz too for a while at the beginning. Taz didn't need me anymore because he could do promos and Sabu didn't do promos. So we made a perfect blend. And then when they put me and Sabu together, Van Dam said, "Hey, I'm the whole, and you too, Sabu." It was incredible, man. I don't know how it happened, but it did. And I'm still working today because of these guys. Thanks, RVD.
100%. So yeah, Sabu and RVD, they'd eventually have a stretcher match at the Doctor's Inn in later than that same year. And AEW president Tony Khan has said that he was at that show, and I think I saw him. I got a screenshot of him as a kid, I think, with his dad Shad in the crowd.
Where that? When was that match?
This was later this year, in 1996, later in the year, against Sabu at the ECW Arena in Philadelphia.
And was I with Sabu and Taz at that time?
I think you were with Sabu and RVD at the time. Was it because they had the stretcher match?
Okay.
Yeah, but before that they had the matter of respect match where like RVD didn't shake Sabu's hand and all that stuff happened then beforehand.
Yeah, I remember that Sabu and RVD said, "And I respect you, Bill Alfonso." It was pretty cool. I respect you, so that was pretty cool.
Right. So, but yeah, since Tony Khan, have you ever had interactions with Tony Khan?
No.
You haven't.
I met was at doing shows for CCW. It's a company out of South Florida that run regularly in Florida. They run 4 or 5 dates a month in Florida, and damn, I forgot what the question was.
Tony Khan.
Oh no, so I was doing a show for CCW, and QT Marshall was on the show, and he came up to me and said, "Hey, Fonzie, I'm QT Marshall. I'm kind of an agent, work with Tony Khan." He said, "Your name came up in a production meeting." And I said, "Well, what do I do? Do I call Tony?" What, he said, no, just hold on. I said, "Okay." So nothing happened. And a month later, I seen QT Marshall again. He said, "Fonzie, your name came up again in the production meeting, AEW. I said, "Wow, that's great. So what should I do?" He said, "Just hold tight and let's see what happens." So I'm holding tight.
There you go. Holding tight. Yes, where it goes.
At Tony, and congratulations to him for doing something that only Ted Turner was able to do besides Vince McMahon. Vince is the king, or WWE, but WCW, man, had a great run, and now Tony Khan's doing it. Congratulations.
Right. 100%. And
would love to work for you, Tony.
And it's neat to see too that that they there is like a good second tier wrestling federation that's there up there and making prominence and being on network television. It's such a big thing, I think, for the business, and gives a lot more options for talent, gives a lot more options.
Yes.
And it's just it's always positive to see that happen.
It's great. They're doing well. They're doing pay-per-views and they're doing events all over the country. They're working every week somewhere. Really cool, man. And they're doing well.
Yeah, right. It is. It's great to see. And shout out to a couple of the fans in here. Fonzie, right down the middle, says Bob Miller. Thank you.
Hey, Bob Miller, Daddy.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching, brother.
And then we have Alex here and saying Fonzie, extremely underrated. He was perfect for ECW. So how about that?
Thank you.
And we got a couple of questions too. We'll be sure to get to those here. I'm starring them, so we'll be sure to answer those here before we end the show here. So yeah, what did you ultimately think when Van Dam and Sabu became tag team partners? Was that always the plan, or what were your initial thoughts on that?
Not sure what the plan was. I mean, I was there. I was supposed to come in. Dominic, I was supposed to come in. Paul Heyman brought me in, called me and said, "Fonzie, we want you to do this angle. I just left WWF and we want to bring you in because Vince McMahon wanted the doctor, his wife, and the 2 kids at ringside. ECW was 75% male from 19 to 29, hardcore. So just leaving WWF, Paul Heyman thought it'd be a good idea for me to come in and be anti-ECW and try to, bring it to family entertainment, which the fans hated me for it. I got big heat. That's when, instead of 4 weeks to get chokeslammed by 911, Paul Heyman said, "Wow, Fonzie, your character is getting over, so we're going to put you with Taz." And that was my first time managing. So I was there from May of 95 until the company, we did 23 pay-per-views, and I was on 22 of them. I don't think I did the last one.
Wow. How about that? That's pretty wild.
So when I think Paul Heyman had this idea about putting Van Dam together because they were good friends already, and me being right in the middle, and Van Dam being so arrogant, "Hey, I'm the whole episode, and you too, Sabu." That just worked, man. That just worked. It just freaking worked. So we took advantage of what what was working and went with it, you know?
It was such a cool dynamic too. I remember telling Rob, I think we first watched a match with him and Sabu going up against Candido and Lance Storm. Oh, I think I told this last week, was that, and you guys are all backstage, and that dynamic between him and Sabu, but you involved in it too. It was like a really great match made in heaven, where you have like, it's almost like a kind of a heel dynamic, but it's also like likable dynamic. It's kind of like in that balance of like, hey, we get it's friendship, but it's also like this tension is there too, and there's a guy blowing a whistle in the middle of it all too. It's just great
and
stuff.
And then the fans start liking it, the magazines start liking it. We are on I'm on so many magazines with RVD and ECW. We got so much coverage. In fact, in 1997, you know, there was WCW, WWF, and ECW, and we were competing with them in a small way. And for them, and for the wrestling magazines to give me, you know, competing with Jimmy Hart and all these other managers, Manager of the Year award, that was pretty freaking cool. So ECW was doing great. So what I'm saying was we were getting so much coverage, being a team and well liked, and that the whole effing show and Van Dam really got over, and Sabu, suicidal, homicidal, genocidal Sabu was doing unbelievable stuff, you know, really hardcore stuff, and people had never seen anything like it. And then Van Dam, with those damn thighs he had, he could jump for a half a mile almost, you know. It was unbelievable. And then we used to do the chair spots. My God, incredible matches with Jerry. And thanks, Jerry, for incredible matches with RVD and involving me. And then we used to do this chair spot, call it the hot potato. I throw the Van Dam, you know, back and forth with the chair, and then somebody get Van Daminated. It was pretty freaking cool, man.
Pretty damn badass.
Yeah, hardcore. People fucking loved it. Am I allowed to discuss a little bit?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Okay. And you know what too? I think didn't you guys do that too at the ECW arena with Speedball Mike Bailey? Didn't you guys do a chair spot together, I think, during that match?
We've done so. We perfected the chair spots. We used it in almost every match that we did, especially with new people and stuff. We would, you know, call the chair spot and come up with something. And once in a while, backfire, and I got the chair.
Right.
But you know, that was all entertainment, man. It was great. It was great. I didn't mind. Back then, I was young and I'm still healthy and relatively young. But man, I was taking bumps and getting my ass beat back then. And somehow I managed to come out of it okay with I don't need a hip replacement or elbows or knees, but you know, I got a few broken bones and stuff. Oh yeah, I broke my damn wrists. I broke the smaller bone in my arm so bad. Sandman moved down to Florida. He was living in Florida, and we decided for some odd reason to drive to Louisiana. And I broke my arm so bad that they had to put a titanium plate and, you know, 8 screws in it. It was pretty cool. We just kept working, man. We would suffer injuries unless it was something really drastic. We would come to work the next week, especially Sabu.
Right. Yeah. And like Sabu, you see some of the spots that he would do, and some of that stuff was like, holy crap, for that time period, how athletic and amazing he was in the ring. And for him to like put his body on the line like that, it's pretty wild to see. And, you know, but it's such a unique time period where like people, that was kind of what the wrestling business was looking for at that moment in time too, you know?
That's why ECW got over, because we were different. We were hardcore. We weren't family entertainment. Like I said earlier, our clientele was, you know, largely males from 19 to 30 years old, hardcore, man. And so we were definitely not family entertainment. And who knew there was a market for that? Paul Heyman knew. And then we all found out, and we perfected it, man. And we were successful.
Right. That's it.
And we still have a cult-like following.
Right. Today. Still.
You know, that's why I'm doing all these WrestleCons. We just went to WrestleMania in Philadelphia. What a place at the ECW Arena. I did 2 shows, one with Van Dam. I guess both of them with Van Dam. At the ECW Arena, and we did the WrestleCon 3 days, and Van Dam. It was just crazy, man. The people that come up to us.
It was a wild weekend, and it was so neat to be there for that show. I was there for your match with RVD's match with Mike Bailey, Speedball Mike Bailey, where you managed him.
Yeah, badass.
It was so badass. Such a cool
Right.
moment, such a unique moment there, and like, yeah, really special thing to have it in Philadelphia, and with all the ECW guys and stuff. So
it certainly was.
Absolutely. So eventually, Sabu and RVD, they would go on to feud with the Eliminators over the tag team titles. What were your thoughts?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on the team of Kronos and Saturn? Are you surprised they never got a look outside of ECW when they were as a tag?
They got a little bit of a look here and there, but I don't know what happened. I don't know why they didn't get a big contract or, but they were great to work with, man. Both of them. I just saw Perry Saturn and I guess it was Philadelphia. Yeah,
he was right there.
I was working for this company, Woo, the online video game company that I'm on, which is pretty cool. I got a shirt for you too, Dominic, from the Woo company.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of merchandise, have you come up with something to have some type of contest so I can give away one of these cool RVD Sabu Fonzie Hardcore Legends Tour jackets? We're going to be giving one away in the short future. I don't know when Dominic comes up with some type of raffle contest, whatever. We're going to give one away. We may give two away, but that's coming up.
They look amazing
stuff.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to do something in regards to that. And
we got a lot to give away. Some Fonzie stuff,
Heck yeah, look at that.
Cool.
That's badass. No doubt about it. So, yeah, they were quite the Eliminators, though. They were quite the tag team. They
were badass, man. They were tough guys, and they could go, man. And for them to get in there and with Van Dam, Van Dam was a little stiff, but so was everybody. Not that stiff, but he was snug. But they were snug too, man. They had sensational matches.
Right.
I like the Eliminators. They were badass. I'm sorry that the one kid passed, but we lose a lot of our friends. But
how's Perry Saturn doing? I didn't get to interact with him at all during that.
I think his body's kind of burned out. He's suffering some old injuries. He's having trouble with his hips and stuff. I think. But he was pleasant to be around. I love seeing him, man. He put on a couple pounds. He looks great, man.
Yeah, he looks good from what I saw. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I worked with him for 3 days with the Woo company.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wrestling online
organization. Yeah, that Ultra Pro Wrestling game that's coming out.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's very exciting to hear. Yeah, I'm excited for that game.
I'm on it, Daddy. Come play.
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for that. Very excited. Let's see. At ECW Barely Legal, RVD takes on Lance Storm. And after that match, cuts a promo directed at Paul Heyman for not being booked initially on the show. Were you surprised there wasn't a spot for Van Dam on the show? Tommy Dreamer also didn't work on the card. Is that just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes? Or do you remember that moment when he wasn't?
Not exactly, but stuff like that did happen. And I don't know if it was on purpose, if it wasn't on the show on purpose and they fit him in somehow. But look what ended up happening. RVD was the biggest star in ECW,
Yeah, it did, no doubt about it. Ended up panning out okay. Yeah, but this would eventually lead to RVD appearing in WWE for a short period of time with Jerry Lawler also crossing over to ECW and ECW guys doing some appearances in the USWA in Memphis. What was your relationship like with Jerry Lawler?
It was good because you remember I started off where I had my full-time gig in Florida Championship Wrestling with Dusty and Gordon Soley. And Florida was a hotbed for professional wrestling, man. And I got to meet everybody in the business came through eventually to Florida, from Carlos Colon from Puerto Rico to Mil Mascaras to Bobo Brazil and Jack and Jerry Briscoe. And everybody came through, including Jerry Lawler, put down the strap, had that great punch. So I had a working relationship with all these guys that I've for years. So we just clicked, and ECW was a natural fit, man. Jerry Lawler loved us.
Yeah, it's kind of neat because you look about that time period. Jerry Lawler was so tied to WWE and being in there and being in that environment and being a heel, and him being paired with RVD in WWE was such such a weird, but it kind of worked in a funky way of a dynamic for that time period, like especially with
right. And everybody came through ECW, including Coach Stone and Steve Austin. Everybody came through ECW. Rick, everybody, man, it was crazy.
How much?
They wanted to come in to make an appearances because we were the hottest ticket in town. We were so different from the family entertainment, man. They loved us. The boys loved us.
How much heat did Jerry Lawler get in ECW, like from the fans and everything like that?
Well, he was a character already established, a character for years. So they loved Jerry Lawler when he came in. He played his part perfect, and the fans did their part. They booed and cheered him. And, after a while, I was kind of a heel when I came in there, but we became, I don't know if you want to call Van Dam a bad guy or a good guy, but we became characters, man. I was beloved towards the end, and I wasn't a bad guy or a good guy. I was just kind of my character and kind of beloved by the fans, man. It's crazy.
Yeah. How did the ECW locker room handle a star like Jerry Lawler being there and stuff like that?
Pretty cool. After the initial say hello to everybody, and everybody, he was just another one of the boys. Jerry Lawler is no different from me and you. He just, had a big run in Memphis, and then he had his time, and he's one of the agents and bosses in WWE or WWF back then when I worked with those guys in '93, the WrestleMania 9, Caesar's Palace. Pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty dead. We'll have to cover that on another episode here too.
Yeah, we can talk about WrestleManias. I got all kind of cool stuff to talk about. Giant Gonzalez coming up. I'm actually BBC Sports Radio contacted me today. In fact,
yeah, you were saying that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they're gonna get a hold of me tomorrow. They're gonna want to set up an interview and talk about me being with the largest athlete on the planet for 3 years. And from WCW to WWF, it's pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, no, that'll be very cool. Yeah, we'll have to keep our eyes peeled for that one for sure. Eventually, Rob comes back to ECW full time on June 13th, 1997, and you turn on Taz to realign with RVD and Sabu.
That's the first pay-per-view.
Yep, the very first pay-per-view. Did you feel that Taz no longer needed a manager? How did Taz initially get along with RVD and Sabu? I know there's that infamous pick a hand stuff and everything like that, but
there's that. But everybody kind of got along in there. We all wanted to do well, and everybody was fighting for the top spot. And then Taz did his job, and he was great. He got over big time. But we all worked together. There was no big problems, just normal problems that you would have in any dressing room or any time you'd have a locker room or a bunch of people that are work together over and over, week after week, month after month, year after year. There's going to be a little friction here and there somewhere, but actually we all got along pretty fucking good.
Yeah, it seemed like it's such a obviously it's competitive because it's pro wrestling and it's a locker room.
Very competitive. That's a good word.
Yeah, it's competitive, but you almost have that team synergy because you guys are the underdog at this juncture, and you're the underground kind of fan favorite that is really catching fire. So there's that teamwork, camaraderie in that aspect, I think, going into play when it comes to that.
Absolutely.
Cool. Did you think so at this point too, when you turned on Taz at Barely Legal and everything?
Yeah, Taz didn't need me anymore because Taz had 4 or 5 gimmicks before he came Taz. He was like Tasmania, he had 4 or 5 different names. He was Monkey Boy, he was this, he was that. Then when he became Taz got over because he became himself. You know, I can't be anybody else but Fonzie. I can't be anybody else but me. So Taz had these different gimmicks and they just never got over. When he became Taz and himself, and he really got over and worked hard doing it too. And he didn't need me anymore. Paul Heyman, I was lucky to Paul Heyman put me with Taz for the first several months of my career there in ECW. And we were doing promos together and stuff. And Taz could do promos fantastic by himself. And so he actually didn't need me anymore.
Did he Did he kind of grow into getting better at promos, or was he already a naturally good promo?
No, I think he grew. I think he grew like we all did. I didn't know how to do a great promo. As a referee for 25 years before I came to ECW, how many times does a referee do promos? Seldom, several times a year. We might do something, but I never did a promo like, "Hey, Daddy, Tuesday night at the Fort Homer Hesterly Army, me and RVD gonna kick your ass, Jerry." Stuff like that. I didn't have all that in me, but all you got to do is tell the truth. I was having troubles doing promos at first, and Tommy Dreamer and Paul Heyman said, "Hey, Fonzie, just treat it like a shoot. You're going to be at the ECW Arena August 11th. You're in the chain match. This, that." So I said, all you gotta do is tell the truth. "Hey, Daddy, August 11th, me and the whole effing show, we're gonna kick your ass," in this. So I became pretty good at doing promos after a while. And then with my two guys, it made it easier, especially with RVD being spectacular and him being so over. And Sabu didn't really talk that much at all, but he didn't need to.
No, he didn't need to at all. Like, that was kind of the neat dynamic about him. It left an air of mystery about him.
Yeah. Yes, it certainly did leave a mystery about him.
Yep. Let's see. So at ECW, as good as it gets, you team with Rob against Beulah, McGillicutty, and Tommy Dreamer.
Oh shit! Yeah.
This match could be its own episode. But did you know we're
gonna make this match an episode, but I'm gonna show you. Few seconds. Go ahead.
How'd you feel about did you know that night it was going to be something special? Like when you guys
No, I had no idea. I had no clue at all. So it was going to be a tag match, and then Tommy Dreamer got hurt before the match, and so did Van Dam. So it ended up Beulah and Joey Styles says, Tommy Dreamer left ringside. He's back. He got injured. RVD left too. Beulah and Fonzie, and then we started the match, and we fucking did fantastic. I don't know how we did it, but we did. If you ask Paul Heyman to name a couple of his favorite matches in ECW, he's going to say Fonzie Beulah, one of them. I guarantee it. It might be one of his favorite matches of all time. He talks about it, puts it over big time. So they say it saved my job, but
Well, hey, how nervous were you going into that?
I think it was just another night and something that it was unusual for me to have a match to begin with. I'm not a wrestler now, but it was more like a street fight, and they we got together and talked a little bit before, and everybody put their 2 cents in, and Tommy Dreamer helped us out, and we developed that match, and it ended up doing really well. And I almost bled out.
Holy smokes, yeah.
I had to get rushed to the hospital because I lost so much blood. It was pretty cool, man. It was pretty cool. And if it wasn't for that blood, I'm glad I almost bled to death, because if I didn't, we wouldn't be talking about it today. We would just be another boy versus girl, 6-minute match or whatever it was. Wasn't too long at all, but we did some cool stuff.
Yep.
I didn't know I could do stuff like that.
How about that, huh?
But I had been around it for all these years, man. I've been around it for like 27 years, 28 years before I got in the ring with Beulah. So it was kind of a natural fit for me, because I've seen it done a million times, but doing it yourself is a little bit different from being in there refereeing and watching it,
Yeah. Oh, it's good stuff. It was like such a unique time period, and I think that really ties in the identity of ECW too.
We got some press out of that, and it was really cool. Thanks, Beulah.
Yeah, how about that, huh?
Yeah.
It has been said that this is a match that was finally shown to Vince McMahon when he first saw the original ECW content. How did you feel about that, and were you ever contacted at the time by WWE? Did you hear about that at all? That it was a possibility that Vince McMahon watched this match, and were they
watch the Beulah Fonzie match?
Yeah, watch the Beulah Fonzie match.
He might have. Who was a really big fan of ECW was Shane McMahon.
Yeah,
Shane was a big fan of ECW. That's why we got a lot of attention. I think it was because of Shane. And then Vince had to show some respect and had to show some attention because we were doing so well and developing. Hey, when I walked in the ECW May 1995, I walked in the dressing room. Now, I just came from WWF a couple of months before I came to ECW. Paul Heyman called me and said, "Hey, Fonzie, we want you to do this stuff." I walk in there. I just coming from a 5-year run with WCW and WWF making 6 figures. So I wore a beautiful suit. I got a Hollenberg briefcase. I'm wearing a Submariner. I walk in the dressing room and there's Taz, there's Tommy Dreamer, there's Sandman. I did Little Guido, Mikey. I didn't know fucking one guy in the dressing room, and I know everybody in the business. And who the fuck are these guys? But Paul Heyman was developing his own stars, and he did a freaking great job.
Right.
Know? And then we'd bring in guys, occasionally for something special. And but Paul Heyman created, or ECW created their own stars.
Yeah, they
Our top stars like Tommy Dreamer, Taz, RVD, Sabu, Sandman, and many more. Spike Dudley, Mikey. There's a ton more I'm leaving out, but
I know there's a lot.
yes.
So many of those names. It's just like, and for that time period too, from like, WWE was obviously the top dog there, and you had WCW as a top competitor, but they added so much. That whole roster was just its own unique entity together, but there were their own stars in their own way too. And Paul was so great at, you'll hear this, how great he was about highlighting that talent strength and hiding their weaknesses. If they had certain weaknesses and stuff like that, Paul was able to read that really well and implement their strengths into the product. So it's very cool to see that stuff. And no wonder he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he was tremendous. Did you see his speech, Hall of Fame speech?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I was there for it. I was up in the nosebleeds in the press box covering
it. Really? They showed some footage. I've seen it now, but they showed some footage of Triple H, who's one of the big guys in WWE now. He was at the first couple rows or whatever with his wife, and he loved it. You could see his expressions when he said, "Suck my dick," whatever the fuck he said. It was pretty cool. And Triple H loved it.
Yeah, it was very fun.
And so did all the fans. They loved it. They popped big time. Paul Heyman was being Paul Heyman. He's brilliant, actually.
Oh, he's so brilliant. Yeah. So both those guys together, it's like, I hear, there was obviously like people had their thoughts about Vince and how he handled booking and stuff like that later on when in WWE, but like Paul taking over, Triple H taking over. And then it's kind of good to see those guys with the knowledge and the respect for the history of the business and still being there and being a prominent factor on and WWE's doing really well right now. It's a lot of fun to watch, I think. So
yeah, man, what a big company. Now they use the word wrestling still, but we are sports entertainment. We're entertainers, and man, the WrestleMania has gotten so big. All the big Summer Slams and all the big deals have just gotten tremendous. I don't know if it's $1 trillion company, it's $1 billion company for sure, but big money, man, big money in the production and the guys that are so marketable now. Congratulations to Dusty's kid Cody.
Right, yeah. What do you think of Cody?
I like him. I met him when he was a kid. I know his mom. His mom had we have the Legends Lunch. A lot of us live in Florida. A lot of guys live in Tampa Bay. A lot of wrestlers. And we have this Legends Lunch every 2 months or every month and a half or something. And Dusty's wife, Michelle, was there. And we talked for a few minutes. And, I remember then when they lived in Tampa, when Dusty was the booker here and I worked for Dusty, I was Dusty's left-hand man. And we talked about all that. And Cody was a little kid. So was Dustin. Dustin was just breaking into business.
Yeah, it's so neat to see those guys and flourish, and Dustin's still going too, and he's still doing a great job. And it's like,
yeah, and Cody's very marketable.
Mm-hmm. Very marketable.
Or else you wouldn't have that spot where he's at if he wasn't marketable. Just because he's Dusty's kid, that's not why he's there.
And you look at it too, it's like Cody's like has his own unique look and stuff like that, but you can see so much of Dusty in him in regards to how he promotes himself and how he can see 2 steps ahead of where, you know,
he has that old school and he has the new school, that what it takes to be, you know, to get over and be marketable in this business today. Like Taz's son, Hook.
Yeah, Hook.
You know,
oh my god.
He's not a big guy. He's not fucking 22-inch pythons like superstar Billy Graham. But he's marketable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's got the look. He's got something. He reminds me of like Mark Spitz body, you know. But
yeah,
he's very marketable, and the kid can work. And congratulations, man. I like him.
I know, and he's such a young kid too. He's got plenty of time ahead, and he's very talented. Got a good presence about him too. So
yes, he does.
Yeah, real quick, we'll get some comments in here. Voodoo Vic, who's a regular on Rob's show, he says, "I'm glad I almost bled to death." You said when with you and Beulah there. That's one of your quotes you had. I'm glad I almost bled to death.
I'm glad I almost bled to death. Is that what I said?
That was the quote you had back with you and Beulah when you bled out like.
Yeah, because it made the match. If I didn't bleed like that, if I didn't hit a freaking artery or whatever, I mean, it was shooting out. I mean, after the match is over, I mean, she hit me with that 10 sheet like 20 seconds into the match, and I got busted open. A big juice, however I got the juice, was pretty heavy, and it just kept bleeding and bleeding. It would not stop, and it really made the match, man. And after the match, they couldn't stop the bleeding, so they put a big steel plate on my head and taped it up and rushed me to the hospital because I lost so much blood. And our nurse was taking it off. I said, "Hey, be careful how you take it off." She said, "Oh, I've been a nurse for 20 years. Don't tell me how to do my job." I said, "Okay." So she took it off, and as soon as she took that steel plate off my head, juice shot all over her white outfit, got all over her neck and shit. She was fucking pissed. But they wanted to keep me in the hospital that night, you know, because I lost so much blood. I had to get all kind of IVs and shit. And they said, "We recommend you." I said, "Oh, I got a 6 o'clock flight back to Tampa tomorrow." And they said, "Oh, no, you're staying in the hospital for a day or two." I said, "No, I can't." So they made me sign a release form in case something happens to me. They're not responsible. So I signed a release form, and they were wheeling me out. The doctor said, "Whatever you do, don't smoke cigarettes, don't smoke pot, don't take any pills, don't drink any alcohol. You need to just drink water and get some rest. And we don't even want you to fly because flying is no good for your cut." I said, "Okay." So they wheel me out of the emergency room, and there's Sandman waiting for me. He's got a 44-ounce bucka full of vodka and cranberry. He puts a joint in my mouth and gives me a Percocet, and of course I take all of it, you know. Crazy. I don't know why I'm alive today, but it was just a crazy thing.
Oh my gosh. Holy smokes. That's wild. That's wild, Fonzie. Italian says, "I was in Peoria, Illinois at an ECW taping. Fonzie jumped the rail and cheered with me for RVD. We made TV the best time of my life." How about that?
What's his name?
His name's Italian. He does he joins on my Greg Gagne and Magnum TA podcast. He pops in.
Italian. Thank you so much for saying that, Dan. Thanks for putting me over. I wish I could say I remember that night, but there's been so many nights like that. But thanks for saying that, man. It means a lot. It means a lot to me. When fans come up to me and say, "Hey, I met you 27 years ago at this arena, and they tell me the story. It's pretty cool, man, to get noticed like that, and people come up to me. It's not like I'm a celebrity. I don't know what I would call myself. I don't want to call myself a celebrity. I'm a character that, you know, has been in the business a long time. So I guess I am a movie star, kind of.
Yeah, you're a bit of a celebrity, I'd say, Fonzie.
Kind of. Okay, I'll take it.
I'll tell you that at least, you know.
All right, thanks, Daddy.
You're welcome.
My wife, my tall, beautiful, blonde Hungarian wife, doesn't think I'm a celebrity, but you know,
you gotta have the balance. Check to the balances there.
I say, babe, why'd you marry me? Because I'm rich and famous. She says, well, first of all, you're not rich. You maybe have some notoriety in the wrestling business, but I know nothing about. But, she strings me right up.
Right. All right. Well, RVD and Sabu would eventually win the tag titles, making Van Dam a double champion and you the manager of champions. Did Paul always want you to be the manager of champions, or do you think Van Dam was just too good at the time to put a title on anybody else?
I think Van Dam, no, he wasn't too good to put a title on anybody else. Van Dam just handled all those titles very well, and he could put them on Van Dam, so that's why he had it. I got a picture of me holding up, hey, babe, I was just putting you over on the podcast, telling you tall and beautiful, and I'm a celebrity, but you don't think so, and, you marry me because I'm rich and famous.
Not at all.
Okay, I did, okay.
You heard it. There it is.
Go away. So, okay, what were we talking about?
Van Dam. Yep.
Yeah, so I got a picture with me holding up all the belts, man. We had the world belt, the TV belt, the fuck the world Taz's belt, the tag belts, man. But we can hold them. We managed to hold them and then drop them when it was the appropriate time to drop them. When somebody needed a lift, we would give them a belt. But Van Dam carried the load, man. He did it. He did a great job.
Oh yeah, he definitely did. It's just it very obvious why he's the Hall of Famer, why he's so legendary and stuff like that.
Yeah, Van Dam was unusually good in the ring. He wasn't average. He wasn't great. He was fucking unusually fucking spectacular. There's not too many guys can do what Van Dam. A lot of guys copy his stuff now, and they do a pretty good. Nobody does a 5-star frog splash like Van Dam. Nobody takes a bump like Van Dam. Man, the matches he had with anybody, not only Jerry Lynn and Bam Bam Bigelow, but Van Dam could work with anybody and have spectacular stuff.
Right.
Spectacular, not good, spectacucer shit.
All the different opponents he had and his unique style going up against that, it just such a great presentation. It's just like immediately connection with people and fans.
Yeah, and they had all those sayings, Mr. Monday Night, Mr. Pay-Per-View, the whole fucking show, Mr. 420. They all fit him, and he handled it well, man. Right. Damn. And it made our promos even better when he was like that,
Right. It definitely did, yeah. At this point, you've been on the road with Rob for several years. Do you have any good road stories with Rob?
Just average stories that we traveled together. We worked only on Friday and Saturday. Sometimes it would be a 3-day weekend, like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But and pretty much 45, 50 times a year, we had very little time off because we only work weekends. And we did travel a lot together. I did travel a lot with Sandman. We became really good friends, and Todd Gordon's one of my best friends. But when Van Dam bought when our Sabu bought a Winnebago, we were driving and for some crazy reason we're passing this Winnebago place. We sold Winnebagos, big motorhome. Sabu says, "I'm gonna pull in there." He pulled in there and fucking bought one. It was pretty cool. They gave it to him on whatever they did. It was fucking beautiful. We traveled on that for a while. It was really cool, man. And they sure did smoke a lot of Pacololo. And they always had the good shit too, And I'm a smoker. Of course I smoke pot. I've been in let's see. Look, I'm a championship pot smoker, Daddy.
Oh, dang, look at that. How about that? Holy smokes.
And this came out of the High Times magazine. This should have been the cover, but there's 5 people who decide who's going to be on the cover of the High Times magazine. And 3 voted Ozzy Osbourne, 2 voted Van Dam. But they gave us a centerfold, like a 3 or 4 page spread. I had the magazine. I'll pull it out in a minute. But we got all kind of notoriety from that High Times magazine, Daddy. Pretty fucking cool.
That's fucking.
And that's for being ECW being big stars, man. And Van Dam being pro marijuana.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about that on the recent episode too. Some of the law changes that might be happening, stuff. Pretty cool stuff.
Where they're voting in Florida right now, it's medical here, But the voting coming up with the next presidents and stuff, they're voting in to legalize marijuana, just like it is everywhere else.
Rob
And
was
then,
giving me all the details about it. It being like can't remember what it's called, something one, Schedule 1, and I think it which is like where the heavy drugs, hard drugs are on right now, and they wanted to put it to Schedule 3 where it's a more like a latent kind of sentence on that kind of thing.
right.
Yeah. Oh,
So
man.
it's going to pass here. But I
Yeah.
have all the access to marijuana I want, and really good. I was just in New Hampshire, no, Vermont this past weekend. I went up there with my wife. We went for a few days. We have some friends up there, and pot's illegal there. When I walked into the store and bought a gram of this, bought a gram of that, but all high test, all fabulous weed, man. I don't think there's any bad weed anymore.
You're right. People know what they're doing at this juncture with it,
There's so many names, hardcore Kush, this and that. It's great. I love it all too.
Right. Man, we're getting some good questions in here, so we'll have to get to those here.
Okay.
Let me ask you this one real quick. Voodoo Vic says, when you guys smoke, do you prefer indica or sativa? Would you have a preference there, Fonzie?
Well, in the daytime, I like the one that brings you up.
Okay, sativa then, I think that.
It gives you a little action. And then at night, late at night, who doesn't like to smoke a joint to try to relax you, bring you down? Because it's hard to, my wife doesn't understand it because I've been in the business over 44 years or something. And, the bell rings at 8 o'clock and it's over by 11 o'clock. Then we go out to the after parties and dinners. So I'm in bed at 3 o'clock in the morning. So my wife's, she's been a nurse. So she has a normal hours, not like me. So at 11 o'clock at night, I'm wide awake. You know what I mean? So I like the good pot. That helps you sleep a little bit. I like both of them. I like good pot.
Oh yeah.
And
I know I'm a novice with it, but I'm not afraid of dabbling. That's for sure.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't smoke it. Van Dam would smoke a joint on the way to the ring, or you'd be a big pot smoker. But I didn't like doing that. But they would make me take a cop hit. I would say, okay, give me one hit, so you guys don't think I'm a cop. So I would take one cop hit. They would call it a cop hit. It was kind of cool. They were fucking with me, but after, and I got a couple ounces around here somewhere that I always keep good pot with me.
Heck yeah. Well, let's see here. You touched upon this for a little bit already, Fonzie, but talk about the rivalry between Van Dam and Jerry Lynn. What did you think of their chemistry as opponents?
Man, I look back at those matches and they had so many matches and they were good. That's why they continued. That's why the appointment continued booking this match of Van Dam and Jerry Lynn, because they were spectacular. We did them all over the country. In fact, all over the world. We go to Toronto and we went to Japan and all kind of stuff. And the matches were so sensational. And Jerry was so good. My goodness. Spectacular matches. But Van Dam could have matches with anybody. But special matches with Jerry Lynn, man. They just were unbelievable. I couldn't believe some of the stuff I was seeing. And then Van Dam was being very inventive with those big thighs he had and all that power in his legs and that mind he had. Kind of reminds me of a Bruce Lee, Van Dam, all kind of stuff put together, but in his own way. He developed his own style. And I loved it, man. He could work with anybody. But those matches with Jerry Lynn, I can't say enough good things about Jerry Lynn. And if you pull it up, you can Google Van Dam and Jerry Lynn, and 100 matches to come up and watch them. You see what I'm talking about. But you guys know already the couple hundred people that are watching the show, or hopefully more. We built it up.
We got 1,000 people tuning in right now, Fonzie.
We got 1,000 people tuning in?
We're over 1,000 people tuning in.
Daddy, okay, let me bring this jacket up because, hey, not on this show, but Dominic, my co-host, he's Van Dam's co-host too. He's really badass. He's going to come up with some type of formula to give one of these jackets away. Some type of, not an auction, but some type of game or
fan giveaway.
some type of giveaway. And we
show it up here, Fonzie.
really got some really cool stuff to give away. Look
at that. Holy crap. Those are badass, Fonzie.
Yeah. And it says RVD, Sabu, Fonzie, Hardcore Legends Tour. It's got the original patches on it. They're all really nice quality jackets.
Wow.
So we're going to be giving one of those away in the next few podcasts that we do. So you guys that are watching tonight, thank you so much. But when Dominic comes up with some type of game system that you guys make sure you enter, because I would love to somebody out there. We may give a couple away,
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, we'll come up with a good giveaway.
At the shows I do, I take them, and I sell a few of them. But I can't wait for, somebody's going to be a lucky winner and be wearing one of my jackets, or RVD Sabu Fonzie Hardcore Legends Tour, Daddy.
Well, guys, tune in next week by next episode. So 2 weeks from now, we do this every 2 weeks. So be sure to tune in 2 weeks from now, and we'll announce the giveaway then and what you do.
Yeah, Dominic's going to come up with some type of game show. You guys enter and win.
Voodoo Vic wants to know real quick, what is your largest size jacket you got there, Fonzie?
Any size you want. I have from smalls to XL is the most common jacket. People love the XLs, but they come up to, double X. If you're a big kid, we'll make one for you, brother.
There you go.
Daddy. No problem.
No problem there.
Mediums, large, and XL right now. I think I will have one double X. But they're all cool.
Yeah. You know what, Fonzie? I think what I'm going to do, we're going to make this a two-parter with Rob, because I have some more questions here.
Okay.
I want to get to some fan questions before we close out.
Yeah, we haven't even talking about all the magazines. I mean, I have literally, I'm looking to my right here. We're in my office, by the way, in Tampa, Florida. I got a beautiful home with my beautiful, tall, blonde Hungarian wife. And I got all kind of memorabilia and all kind of cool pics that we can give away cool pics. This is when we went to Japan. I got the bonsai thing on my number one, and this
That's awesome.
Tokyo, and we just got all kind of stuff. This is one of my favorite pictures right here, and I usually sign these and sell them at conventions and stuff. But I give away a lot,
Right.
So we got a lot of cool stuff, and we got ECW belts, and Harley Race gave me this belt. Somebody had made it for him. It's a replica of his belt, and somebody made it and gave it, or they bought it and gave it to Harley Race, and Harley said, "Thank you," and said, "Here, Fonzie, this is for you." Because I reviewed so many of his matches, the Barry Windham and Harley Race, and all the Dusty and Harley Race back in the 80s and stuff when Harley was champion. He was a great champion. So we got a lot of memorabilia. Here's a great picture of Sabu, Fonzie, Taz, RVD, and
Candido, right? Is that Candido?
Yeah, Chris Candido. Candido's brother, Johnny, I think his name is Johnny. He put this on, posted this, and it got over almost a couple 100,000 views, likes on this picture. It was taken at the show of Terry Funk's retirement in Amarillo, wherever it was.
At the Double Cross Ranch.
And here's the poster that we were on. There's Sabu with Fonzie. There's a picture of RVD. Look how young and beautiful RVD was. Can you see him?
Yep. Oh, man. Yeah.
That was before he was a whole fucking show. Mr. Pay-Per-View, Mr. 420, he was RVD. So that was a while back. So that picture was taken then. It was pretty cool, man.
Pretty damn cool indeed. Yeah.
Yeah. We got so much cool stuff to talk about and give away and reminisce and, getting tons of questions from you guys and so many magazines that we're in. I'm in with Van Dam. This is my boy Van Dam.
Yeah, look at that.
We just did tons of magazines together. Remember the ECW magazine?
Oh, yeah.
We had our own magazine, man.
Heck yeah, look at that. Man, catching fire.
Very cool.
What do you got there?
This is the WOW magazine. Remember that?
Oh, I remember that magazine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very successful.
World Wrestling.
Guess who's on the centerfold? in the center. Me and Van Dam, of course. Van Dam was just well loved, well respected by all his peers too. You know, everybody loved RVD because he was so cool to be around, and and such a great worker. The boys loved him. Yeah.
Right? Well, let's get to some questions here. Okay. I think I know the answer to this one. Italian says, "Who smoked more, Sabu, RVD, or Fonzie?"
I didn't smoke nothing compared to these guys. I may smoke. Now I'm retired and at home. I just work at these events on weekends here and there. I smoke about a joint a day. Van Dam's the biggest pothead I've ever met. Sabu's a pretty good smoker too, but I think RVD's holds the record in smoking the best Bacololo and the most.
No doubt. Was RVD the best worker you've worked with?
That's hard to say because Jack Briscoe was the best worker I've ever worked with. Harley Race was the best worker. Dory Funk Jr., Terry Funk, Sabu, Sandman was great. RVD was great. Jerry the King was great. Dr. Death Steve Williams was great. Andre the Giant was great. Everybody, Jake the Snake. I worked with so many different people. You can't tag one guy. It's almost impossible. But I'll say RVD was had something special, and he was one of a kind. He would, you know what? He might have been fucking one of my favorites. Now that we look at it that way. Because I owe a lot to RVD. RVD didn't take me. The office put us together, and we just clicked, and was in the main events. I wasn't never on the first match. I wasn't, on the first opening card, which is the opening match on the wrestling show is very important. It sets the pace for the whole show. But I wasn't. I was always in the top 3 main events. So, that was with Van Dam or Sabu, and so Van Dam may be my favorite.
He's top.
And it is the manager of champions, and I got my boys right there. This is a picture that I sell and give away at the wrestling shows that I do all over the country. The manager of champions calls it right down the middle. There's my 3 boys. Well, my 2 boys, Taz was my boy for a while too, and I love Taz.
Oh, Taz is awesome. He's so great on commentary too.
He's spectacular. My God, he's spectacular.
He really is.
Yeah.
Jair asks, Fonzie, did you like the WWE version of ECW? RVD should have been champ there. Did you like their version? What did you think about that?
It was watered down to a certain. I'm looking for a picture. It was watered down. It wasn't the same. It was never going to be the same. But I did like the version, but the original version was the way to go. Looking at this picture it relates to the question. But I think WWF guys, WWE guys, and ECW guys all on center stage in New York City when we did some TVs. We were doing joint efforts there. It was different. WWE's version was not the same.
Not the same. Yeah, I agree. I think it started off pretty well, and then they got off the beaten path of what ECW was about, and it just didn't tie together.
Yeah, exactly.
That's kind of it. So let me see. Oh, this is a good one. OG Wrestling Fan 17, thank you. He says, Fonzie, we need to see you in Juggalo Championship Wrestling, the ICP. ICP's pro wrestling promotion.
Oh, I work with one of those guys too. Wasn't Billy Corrigan was with those guys, were they?
Yeah, they were in the NWA. They did some NWA stuff.
Well, I just did a show with Billy Corrigan, the NWA show.
Oh, nice.
Come do some stuff, and I did, and I would love to work with those guys again.
Yeah.
Billy loved me he invited me. He has one of his assistants call me and say, hey, Fonzie, Billy Corrigan wants you to come do something for the NWA, and I did, and then we worked out. I seen Billy. It was great to see him.
Holy shit. Yeah.
So I'm staying really busy. I'm booked up. I brought my booking sheet here to give you a kind of an idea what I got doing going. So let's see. We're finishing May. This Friday, I'm in. I told you guys AIW for John Thorne in Cleveland. June 1st, I'm working in West Virginia with Sandman, Francine, Sabu. On the 8th of, I'm going to Minnesota. Then I'm going on a European tour. I'm going on vacation to Switzerland, not for wrestling related, but my wife and I are going to Switzerland, Barcelona, and 10 days in Italy on tour. Then when I get back, I go right to Chicago on the 29th and work there. Then July, I'm booked for the whole month. I'm in at the ECW Arena July 6th. And it's for Battlegrounds. It's for the show that I did with RVD.
Yeah, that's a great promotion.
Bill Gertner there Friday and Saturday at the WrestleMania weekend. I'm coming back and doing something with them. I'm working with MLW, of course AIW again. I'm booked all the way through. Let's see, damn. I have dates all the way to the end of the year. It's crazy. It's crazy.
You can't beat that, Fonzie.
And it's because of ECW, not because I was an international 5-star referee. You know, was on the covers of all kinds of magazines all over the world. There's Giant Gonzalez, and it was WCW, and the Japanese office did a joint show, 65,000 people at the Tokyo Dome, and I refereed Fujinami, Ric Flair, and a controversial finish, and Giant Gonzalez. We're gonna have an episode about him. I told you that BBC called me, and we're gonna do a big article, big talk about, you know, me being his handler and special guy. So the kind of the perks I would get being the personal assistant for Giant Gonzalez was, you know, doing Baywatch, doing Hulk Hogan's Thunder in Paradise, going on different talk shows, having Ted Turner call me. I think I mentioned this before.
Yeah.
Ted Turner, my phone rings and it's, hey, Fonzie, Ted Turner. I thought it was one of the boys ripping me. And he says, Fonzie, can you do a favor for me? I said, certainly, Mr. Turner. And he said, call me Ted. I said, okay, Ted. He said, I want you to go. You know, I own the Braves. I own the Atlanta Hawks. The Braves have been winning World Series, and we're doing spectacular. I want you to take Giant Gonzalez and go sit in my booth with me and Jimmy Carter when you usually sit, and the camera's going to pan to Giant Gonzalez, and the comment is going to say, hey, the Braves are doing so good, it brings the largest athlete on the planet to watch them, you know, and it doesn't say, and Fonzie too, but I'm sitting right there dying, you know, but all kind of perks like that. So we got a lot to talk about with him coming up.
Absolutely.
And one of our podcasts.
Oh yeah, we got a lot more to cover. That includes RVD because I have some more research done by Robert D. Felice here that we're going to cover next week or next episode.
Don't back me up, Dominic. I can talk all night long, Daddy. Don't get me to wrap up. Okay, I'm fucking with you. But yeah, we got a lot of stuff to cover, man. If we get some followers, like you said, we got 1,000 people watching our show.
Yeah, on Twitter and on YouTube. So we got a good contingency on RVD's Twitter, and then we're watching on RVD TV. We got folks tuning in on RVD TV. A lot of comments coming in.
That's spectacular. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, man. If you got some questions, a lot of you guys know my background and know that I work for Florida Championship Wrestling in WCW and WWF and WrestleMania and the ECW. Now I'm doing shows all over the world still pretty active and still very busy on weekends. I'm booked all the way to the end of the year. It's fucking crazy. But so crazy. Hopefully we can bring some entertainment for you guys. You know, guys. Telling some Dusty stories where I sucker punched Dusty, or Roddy Piper shooting the alligator, taking his clothes off to go swim across the canal to get the dead alligator. Then the alligator comes back to life and chases Piper, and, you know, and me and Muta going across Alligator Alley, and I hit an alligator going 100 miles an hour, and I hydroplaned over him, and we thought he was dead, and I threw him in the trunk of a Cadillac. The alligator was so big, you know how a trunk of a Cadillac's huge, right?
Yeah.
This was in the 80s, so the trunks were really big back in the 80s. We had a Cadillac. The gator was so big, we had to fold the gator up like a donut. So halfway back to Tampa, the alligator, I just gave him a concussion. He came out to life and started thumping and kicking and doing shit in in the trunk, man, and Muta was freaking out. It was pretty fucking cool. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about. Stories,
that was you and Great Muta?
Oh, yeah. He came, well, Hiro Matsuda, Japanese superstar back in the day, in the 60s and 70s, he was part owner of Florida Championship Wrestling with Eddie Graham on a small percentage. And he would book the American guys in Japan and to bring the Japanese wrestlers to Florida and to the United States. So, and I was right in the middle of it, you know, so I got to see all these Japanese guys. I've been working with Japanese guys my whole career. I've worked with guys that's, you know, the old time. When I started full time in 1980, that was a long time ago. Like guys like Bobo Brazil was finishing up. They were the tail end of their career. So I got to work with Jack Briscoe, Bobo Brazil, all these legends. My God, it was fucking. So we can talk about everybody. It's just good. We're going to have a good time. And obviously, I'm having a good time. I'm enjoying myself right now. And I'm not even high. I haven't taken a pill, smoked a joint, nothing yet, Daddy. This is me being me.
Right? No, it's a great time. We got, over 1,200 people tuning in right now. So, guys.
Oh, thank you, 1,200 people. Thanks, Daddy. It's really cool if you guys are tuning in. And I hope we can entertain you.
Absolutely, guys. Yeah, be sure, if you have questions, use hashtag Ask Fonzie throughout the week. Get your questions in. We will be on air in 2 weeks from now. So I believe that will be at the beginning of June. I don't know the date exactly offhand when it comes to June in the calendar. Let me see if I can pull that up real quick just so I know. Yes. So 2 weeks from now, it'll be June 4th. Be sure to tune in on June 4th. We'll be live again. We'll cover RVD a little bit more. We'll have another topic too to touch upon, and we'll go from there. But use hashtag Ask Fonzie. Get the word out. Go to rvdtv.com if you're watching on Twitter. Subscribe, like, share. There's going to be clips up there of Fonzie talking. There's going to be clips of RVD up there. We got some good content going up there.
And by then, Dominic will have some type of game, some type of event.
Yes.
For you guys to win one of these cool ECW jackets that I'm so happy to be giving to one of the 1,200 people that's watching today. I wish we could give one right now, but we'll wait till Dominic comes up with a plan. They're pretty cool. We got black ones with the hoods on them, all kind of cool shit.
Can't beat that. That's awesome. So, guys,
all sizes too. One kid asked about what sizes do we have. Every fucking size, Daddy.
There you go. We're gonna be ready to roll here. Let's see here. Okay, I think that'll do. Let me see. Oh, wait. Okay, let's go. Let's close it out with this one here. The Monday Club OTW. He says, was Fonzie the man in the middle for Bruiser Brody versus Lex Luger? Were you?
Yes, I was, Daddy.
Wow.
Okay. That was. Let's see. Where is that picture? Damn it! When you want the picture, you can't find it.
You can't find it.
Right, but I got it, Daddy. Oh, here it is, right here. So, Lex Luger, we trained him. He was a football player, and he wanted to become a professional wrestler, and we trained him right here in Florida. And about the first year, they were handpicking his opponents. He was getting over. He was learning the business, and then for some odd reason, they booked him in a steel cage against Bruiser Brody, who had been in the business 25 years already, a big star in Japan, very temperamental, and and they just did not have a good match. And there was a cage match, and there it is right here. Yeah, I was a referee for that match, for that famous match, Daddy.
That's crazy. How about that, Fonzie? Man, yeah, we'll touch upon Bruiser. We'll touch upon all those guys coming up. So you guys be on the lookout for that. Be sure to follow Fonzie at Alfonso Bill on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. What's your username on Instagram, Fonzie?
Bill Fonzie Alfonso.
Bill Fonzie Alfonso. So follow me on Instagram,
Facebook, and Twitter, and then the X. It's Alfonso Bill.
All right. So that's how you guys do it.
But I'm easy to find, Daddy. I'm easy to find. Anybody wants to message me or anybody interested in any of these jacks. But wait, I'm going to be giving a couple away. I said one, but I'll probably end up, if I got 12, 15 to a couple thousand people following our damn podcast and there you guys enjoy it, why wouldn't I give a couple away, you know?
Right? Yeah.
Man. Enjoy me giving them away as you guys receiving them.
There we go. How about that? See, that's great. And thanks, shout out to Shrooms and Metal. He says, love you, Fonz and Dom. Thanks for a good time. Thanks, you guys,
Dad.
for a good time. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Italian, Voodoo Vic, the Monday Club. We have and the other guys that just tuned in with questions early on, too. Thank you, guys. Bob Miller and Alex Hearn. So thank you, guys, for all tuning in.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Thanks to the 1,200 people who are watching right now, and really appreciate it, man. And we're going to try our best to fucking entertain you guys.
Yep, 100%. We'll cover more RVD next week, or 2 weeks from now, June 4th. Be on the lookout. And we'll see you next time here on Right Down the Middle with Bill.
This is Bill Alfonso saying so long for the Sunshine State.
How about that? See you guys.